Well, hello and welcome to week one of Ventureprise's Small Bites and Insights. I'm Laura Smales. I'm the Assistant Director at Ventureprise. And we have decided for the next 7 weeks to travel across campus and talk to different colleges, departments, and programs and really give students and faculty an understanding of what's available on campus. We have some great things happening on UNC Charlotte's campus, and we really want to show how we can all work together and really highlight our research, ideas, things that are happening here on campus. Ventureprise, which is UNC Charlotte's Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center, we actually work with faculty, staff, and students on commercializing their research or their ideas, looking for ways for them to make an impact with what they're doing here on campus. So today we are actually talking with, we have two different departments. We have EPIC, EPIC Innovators, and then we have the Center for Graduate Life. And this week's theme is graduate research programs and projects. And we're going to dive deeper and we're going to talk to faculty and students just about different programs. So I'm actually going to throw it down and have everybody start to introduce themselves. And we will actually start with Dr. Jill Huerta, if you would like to take the floor and just give us a little idea about Center for Graduate Life.
Sure. Thanks, Laura. It's great to be here. Thanks for having us. I'm Jill Huerta. I'm Executive Director of the Center for Graduate Life, where we oversee professional development, wellness, and community building events for all 5,500 plus graduate students on campus from over 150 programs, doc programs, master's programs, and postbacs as well. We offer a very broad range of activities, but probably most relevant to this format is our professional development offerings, which come in the form of workshops and also credit-bearing courses that you can take as electives for 2 to 3 credits each. So do you want me to go on about anything specific, Laura, or just
maybe give an idea of some of the workshops and programs that you have, and we'll be getting into more detail, but if you want to just highlight some.
Sure. I think the 2 most relevant ones we're offering right now to this audience would be 2 lecture series that are coming up this fall. One of them is our STEM Fellows Communication Lectures, and the point of these is to help graduate students and postdocs in STEM fields learn how to communicate effectively when they're working across different disciplines in teams, or even working with people outside of STEM on different projects and recruiting for positions, no matter what they're trying to do. Maybe they're working on solving problems together, which I think Laura is going to talk about quite a bit today. It helps them be more effective in getting the jargon out and doing that well. The other one is our Accelerate to Industry Job Search Strategies program. And this is basically bringing corporate partners in to help our students understand what problems they want our students to be able to solve when they hire them. So what kind of skills and abilities and competencies should students have, and how can they use those to stand out in the job search? So lots more, but those are probably
great start. Absolutely. And Christina, if you'd like to talk a little bit and introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Laura. Thanks for having me today. So my name is Christina Kopitopoulou, and I work for EPIC, which is the Energy Production Infrastructure Center at UNC Charlotte. So we fall under the College of Engineering. EPIC is an applied research center with a focus in power and energy. So a lot of the work we do has that focus, and we work with the different departments of the College of Engineering, but also with other areas of the university, just depending on the different projects that we are doing. My role at Epic is the Epic Affiliates Program Manager, which is a membership program we have for industry that is interested in working closer with Epic, but also really getting connected with students. Biggest focus is workforce development of the Epic Affiliates Program. So we have a number of different partners that work closely with us on this, and we try to really get the students connected with the industry, and vice versa, of course. We have them doing together projects and internships and mentorships and different programs. The one that's more applicable for what we're going to talk today is the Epic Innovator program that we work with Ventureprise with, and we thank you very much for your support on that. And we have actually a couple of students here that took part on the program and even won one of the prizes. So I'm very happy that they're here today. Overall, Epic does a lot of work also with innovation. We try to get connected in the different parts, not just with the university, but overall with the community here. For example, we have mentors on the Jules Accelerator. So that's another big innovation program in the area. And then I'm going to do some just self-promotion here too, because we just started a podcast, which is called Peak Demand. And you can find it on Spotify and Apple Podcast and on Podbean. And the last 2 episodes we had were actually on energy, innovation, and entrepreneurship. That's why I'm just bringing that up. And I'm going to stop there. I'm sure there's a lot more information we're going to get into.
Perfect. And then for those that are tuning in right now, just to let you know, I will have slide and access to the information and links that Jill and Christina have mentioned. But let's go ahead and talk to some of our brilliant students that are here on campus. So Dylan, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and what are you studying and what are some things we need to know?
Sure. So, hey everybody, my name is Dylan Turner. My background is in philosophy. I'm currently in my 2nd year in the Ethics and Applied Master's program here at UNC Charlotte. I also work with Dr. Huerta in the Center for Graduate Life as a 2020-21 Graduate Life Fellow. And besides my student responsibilities, I'm also a teaching assistant in the philosophy department, as well as a research assistant for a project with the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Food Policy Council, just wanting to study some of the impacts that COVID-19 has had on the food system here in Charlotte. So that's sort of my background and the things that I'm working on currently, and I'm excited to talk some more today.
Perfect. Olalekan.
All right, Laura. Good morning, everyone. My name is Olalekan Ogundairao. I'm an international graduate student at UNC Charlotte College of Engineering, Williams State Lee. Also, my research work as a graduate student is with distributed energy resources, with grid integration, control, optimization, and management. I'm one of the co-founders of ProAktif, which is the company in Africa to solve majorly energy challenges in Africa. And I direct the business side of the company. So that is all about me right now.
Perfect. And then Akintonde.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Akintonde Abbas, and I'm currently a 3rd-year Ph.D. student in the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering here at UNC Charlotte. And as part of my research, I develop strategies to improve the efficient utilization of energy resources. And aside that, I'm also one of the co-founders of ProAktif, an early-stage clean tech startup that is focused on addressing energy availability issues in especially energy-poor regions of the world. And I'm actually looking forward to this conversation and then talking more about what we've learned so far as participants in the Epic Innovators program and also in the Ventureprise program. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Yes. So get to the crux of why we're all here today. So at Ventureprise, again, I said that we're the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center on campus. And at the crux of what we do in our programming is something we call customer discovery. And at the basis of, I guess, that idea is really talking to industry leaders, potential customers, sort of learning more about the industry that you're doing research on or that you have an idea about. So we have professors and students that come to us that have been doing research, whether it's new or they've been doing it for a few years, but they really want to see how it is outside of the lab. We also have students just come to us with ideas. But at the crux of this, you really have to understand if you're solving a problem. We can have some brilliant ideas, but until you're solving a problem for somebody, it sort of is just like where everybody says, hey, that's really great, and then moves on. So you're really wanting to make an impact and really change the way an industry works. So what we do is we have everybody go out and talk to, again, different industry leaders, potential partners, potential customers, but really understanding the industry. You know, what are they currently utilizing? How does their day run? What's their frustrations? And sort of really seeing with their answers how you can form a solution for them. So I really want to start with ProAktif, and they actually have done Epic Innovators, and they also did Ventureprise launch, and then they actually were also in our summer accelerator program. But walk us through sort of where you were at in the beginning and how it evolved through both of these programs and how you were able to utilize resources here on UNC Charlotte's campus.
Okay, I know Akin was probably waiting for me to probably say something, so I'll go first. For Ventureprise, it's more of getting out of that place of having an idea and communicating to the people that are going to use the idea. Just like Laura said, everybody builds technology, but not every technology gets to marketplace. So Ventureprise gave us that platform to be able to talk to people that were probably going to consume some of the ideas that we have as a product. And during the process of the interviews, we had to go through 6 weeks of Ventureprise training. And what we really learned from Ventureprise was really about who are you going to interview? What are you going to say to them when you're going to interview them? And why are you actually interviewing them? And during those 6 weeks, we were able to further establish some of the hypotheses that we had initially. Perhaps maybe we were looking at the solution wrongly. And it's more of like design thinking, making the customer do the work for you. And that is what Ventureprise actually did for us. And for Epic Innovators was like the kickstart of the whole company that we have right now. Just Epic Innovators gave us like, okay, so there was an Epic Innovators opportunity. We applied into it, and yes, and they gave us good mentors as well. We had an amazing mentor who is now part of our advisory board, and yeah, that was what Epic Innovators did for us. They gave us good mentorship on our idea, and now we've been able to say we don't just have an idea right now. We're actually building a company. So yeah, so that's that for me.
I'm going to have to steal the making the customer work for you. I like that. I like that. Okay. Akintonde, would you like to add anything to?
Yeah, I mean, also great points, Lekon. And really, I think that really sums up what we've gotten from the two programs so far, from Ventureprise and from Epic Innovators. I mean, the opportunity to just move from the scope of just an idea to something that can work and then solve problems out there. I mean, for myself and Olalekan, having the background from Africa, we've experienced some of those challenges, right? So it was nice to get a platform to be able to connect some of the thoughts that we have with an opportunity to solve real world problems for people, and not just solve those problems from a textbook perspective, but then to understand what they really need and then close that gap. So yeah, so for us, I think we've been really helped along those lines. Yeah.
Perfect. And then Christina, if you could give a little insight, because you've had some people that have participated in Ventureprise launch, we saw like an evolution. So if you could just talk about sort of what you feel it added and students going through both of those, if you could speak a moment on that.
Sure, yeah. So I'll just give a little bit of background about what the Epic Innovators is. So we started that program about 2 years ago. And the idea was just to get students that have new ideas or concepts or already a prototype, just depending where they are in their discovery, that's energy related. That's our main focus, energy. So to come and tell us about the ideas, we created a short competition which we select 5 teams or individuals to present to a panel of Epic affiliates, so industry members. So between the time we select the 5 and the time they do their final presentation, we give them a mentor, and that mentor is from a company, one of our affiliates, and he or she helps them kind of work through, the idea and how industry looks at things, and maybe where to focus more instead of more, not really on the academic side of things, if you will, but more the business side of things. So I think with the EPIC Innovators, what we have tried to do is get students that maybe have no idea even that they have an idea, or that their idea can be something, get them just to think about it a little bit more. And then after that process, they can go to Ventureprise and the NSF launch program, where really they get to talk to the companies and discover more about what their product or solution is, who it can really help. Sometimes the people they think is their client is not really the client, but it's somebody else they haven't thought about. And I think that process really helps to solidify not just the concept, but also who the best client is and what the marketplace for their idea really is like.
Perfect. And I know that we did see that transition between, so because we had some students that did Ventureprise launch prior, and so we saw really where the affiliate partners reacted to, hey, you've already talked to some people out in the industry, and so we saw that. I actually witnessed that, where they were, really wanting you to have talked to somebody and have that understanding.
So the ones that did it the other way around, so had participated in the Ventureprise launch program, you could really see that they already had developed a lot of those ideas and were much more comfortable talking about that and presenting, their concept. Whereas if you're going the other way around, they're just getting started. So often they're not sure, how to present and how to discuss that. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's either or. I think we just think in conjunction, that's just where a partnership works. And so we're really thrilled to see that. So now moving on to Center for Graduate Life. So Dylan, we spoke the other day just about Ventureprise programming and customer discovery. But I'm going to ask you first, then we'll go to Jill. But sort of with your research and some of the great things that you're doing that, actually go hand in hand with the COVID-19, what, in terms of talking to industry and really getting out there, what do you see the benefits and for going forth with your research on that?
Sure. So the basic idea that we're trying to accomplish here with this research is seeing what the impact of COVID-19 has been on the local food system. And there's a lot of data and information available that we could kind of use to understand things better. But a lot of what we're doing currently is conducting interviews and focus groups with people in the community who work in food service industries to really get an understanding from them about what the impact has been and what the needs are. Because one of the desired outgrowths of this project is some sort of concrete remedy. So ideally there will be a solution, an idea, some sort of project that can be implemented on the other end of this research that will benefit the whole food system, something that a large group of people all agree is needed. And so in talking to you about this idea of customer discovery, although this is not a business venture, there is still that mindset that you need to talk to the people involved, see what their needs are, and then use that to sort of inform the work you do going forward. And in a different capacity, as a graduate life fellow, talking with my fellow fellows, thinking about the programming we're going to be doing going forward, we wanted to have a session here at the beginning of the year where we talk to other graduate students and sort of gauge what they're thinking. What sort of programming would you find beneficial? What would be helpful to you to hear from us, whether it's advice or if it's a social gathering, to kind of get that going, to make sure that whatever it is that we put forward is something that people want to do and take part in.
Absolutely. And then, so to throw it to Jill now. So we've done a workshop, and then we're getting ready to do a little series later on in the month. But we introduced, we had talked a lot about customer discovery, and then I did that first workshop. And a big part of that was showing the importance of this type of interviewing and discovery, whether you're publishing, whether you're starting this isn't just for, I'm starting a business tomorrow and I need this information. It's more of a mindset of thinking outside the box. We call it an entrepreneurial mindset, but there's a lot of stuff to compact in there, but just through your programming and through what you've seen, walk us through maybe some of the benefits that you've seen that you use, and then what you would like for fellow graduate students to do.
Well, as you're discussing, entrepreneurship has become a very, very broad category and a mindset rather than sort of a process, which is how people used to think about it. And I think this mindset of how can I identify problems and find solutions can be critical to the success of anyone, particularly graduate students. I think I shared the story when we talked last week that my team, Dr. Aura Young, the assistant director at the CGL, and I applied for a grant last March. And, you know, I had just heard you do your workshop, and I said to Aura, what problem are we solving? And it guided the way that we wrote our grant proposal, and we were indeed awarded the grant, which is these are the funds that are making the STEM Communication Fellows program possible. So graduate students do a lot of grant writing. They do a lot of pitching their research to different institutions for funding or for implementation in some way. And understanding the problem that your research is solving allows you to articulate its value well, and can really guide, I think, much of the process. I also think when students are interviewing for positions, whether those positions are in academia, whether they're in the private sector, nonprofit, government, if you can present yourself as someone who knows how to discover problems and craft solutions, that's so powerful in marketing yourself well. So, you know, in essence, much of what we do is selling our entrepreneurial ideas in life. And we almost need a new word for entrepreneurship to describe the skills that make us successful at those processes.
I'm trying to steer everybody to making an impact and really leaving that. So, so I do want to bring in, because we were talking about interviewing and doing all of that. So I'm going to bring back in Akintonde and Olalekan and have them give us an overview of what you've been working on.
Okay, so I guess I'll go first this time, if that's okay. Yeah, so we've been from an individual standpoint. So for me, like I said, my research focuses on developing strategies to improve utilization of energy resources, right? So, but then more on the demand side of the grid. And then also the project is in partnership with the National Renewable Energy Laboratory and a couple of other partners at different institutions. But now bringing it to ProAktif, now what we're really working on is actually addressing the energy availability and the reliability of the grid in regions of the world that have significant energy poverty levels, right? And we've noticed that, okay, of course, there is always a strong connection between economic development and the energy sector of any particular country. And we feel that that's one reason why most of these energy poor regions of the world are a little behind compared to the developed world, right? And for us, coming from that background, having experienced those situations firsthand, we felt, okay, as electrical engineering PhD students, this is an opportunity for us to connect our expertise, connect those skills that we are developing with what is going on in the physical world out there. So that was where the idea of ProAktif actually came up. That, okay, let's go into this space and also come up with a strategy of how we can improve the utilization of clean energy resources, which is often available in abundance in this region, and use that to close the gap between the need for energy and then the limited supply for energy. So in a nutshell, so that's really what ProAktif is all about. That's what we're trying to do, to close that gap between the demand, the high demand for energy, and then the very limited supply, especially in energy poor regions of the world.
Perfect. And the way that you describe it now, I'm so proud of, because I know Christina can also attest that how that has grown since you first started this. So I'm always excited to hear you describe it. So coming from, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's also interesting when it's actually engineers that need to describe a program or a project. You understand what they're saying. So that's, always a big win, I think.
Absolutely. And so I'm going to go ahead and throw this to Jill and Christina really quick. What is the importance of the cross-campus collaborations? You've seen a few, you've seen an engineer maybe work with somebody from College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, but what do you feel is the importance of having both sides of that when you see research and students come through with different ideas? Jill, we'll throw it to you first.
Well, at the most basic level, research shows that graduate students who make cross-disciplinary connections outside of their departments are more successful and more satisfied with their graduate school experience and mentally more healthy because of making these excellent connections with their peers. Obviously, intellectually, there's immense benefits to getting a different perspective. The different disciplines train their students to think differently. And if we can work together with someone in a different discipline, it's so broadening to our perspective.
Christina, do you have anything to follow up with that? Because you deal primarily with engineers, but I know you've seen some teams together. So
yeah, and I was just going to say that talking with our partners in the companies, that's another big thing they start to mention a lot more when you tell them, what are some skills that our students can develop that will set them apart from others. The one thing that they always say, and this really kind of focus more on the technical students, is like soft skills. So make sure that you can, present yourself well and be able to explain what you're trying to say, and make sure that even the layman can understand what you're saying, because you'll often be talking to people that are not engineers, like they'll maybe more on the finance side or the business side of things. So when you are able to discuss, your ideas and your concepts, and others can understand it, that really sets you apart. And interdisciplinary research really helps you develop those skills, right? When you can explain to your marketing fellow what you're trying to do, so they can take that idea, and promote it, I think that really helps that development.
Perfect. And then Dylan, I'll throw that sort of a segue. So your opinions on, the multidisciplinary, but then also how would you encourage some fellow graduate students to utilize resources, and how can they get out there and really sort of take a proactive approach to that?
Sure. So I've seen the benefits of multidisciplinary communication in my own experience. I've taken several classes that were cross-listed with other disciplines. Also taken some geography classes, and I'm currently working in part with a geography professor and anthropology professor. So personally, those connections have benefited me intellectually, as well as what Dr. Huerta mentioned on a personal level for my own, well-being. But additionally, working in the Center for Graduate Life, the fellows were all from different backgrounds. And so we all have different perspectives to contribute when we meet, different ideas and different experiences of graduate school. So just being able to come together and talk about those things sort of expands your ideas and expands the amount of things that you consider in these discussions. And I think that that's something that the Center for Graduate Life in general provides. You can come to a write-a-thon and work with other people to kind of hold you accountable and see, what other people in other disciplines are working on. So I think the benefits there are really tremendous.
Perfect. And then I'm going to go down to Akintonde and Olalekan, and sort of what are your final thoughts on, working with other disciplines, and then, just encouraging other students to really get out and be proactive like you were in searching for different resources and how to utilize them. So any final recommendations, or, sort of guide some students in that direction?
Okay, for me, one of the advices I'm going to give to people, like graduate students generally, is that you can build an amazing technology, but people might not use it. It might just be thrown inside, maybe, something amazing. And which is what happens typically with engineers. We have an idea, we just want to build it. We don't care about who's going to consume it, who's going to use it. But when you go across multidisciplinary communications, one of the things I do is it widens your perspective. Like I have worked in the finance industry for 2 years, and coming back to engineering, I know how it is helping me. Like every time I'm working on something, I'm thinking about what is the dollar value, who is going to use it, why should I build this, why should I do this? And I think if every graduate student will have this kind of mindset, even employees will be happy to take them, because they know that these guys don't just want to build something for the fun of building something. They want to build something to serve humanity. They want to build a technology to serve humanity. And they also know that they are going to build something that is going to bring financial benefits to the company. So I think this is really going to help a lot of graduate students. And the process is so simple, because we are international students, myself and Akin, and what we are building is actually, the root is in Africa. And throughout the course of this program, I must say that the flexibility and the dynamism that we've gained from Epic Innovators and Ventureprise, I can say that it's not biased at all. The playing field is even for everyone. So I think every graduate student should take the opportunity and benefit from it.
Perfect. Any final thoughts or anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, hold on, Lekan. So for me, I think the major
we almost made
that I
it.
would expand upon is the fact that the multidisciplinary, the multidisciplinary perspective really broadens one's mindset, right? So for me now, I've taken a couple of classes outside the in college, and I've seen how that's actually improved and has widened my understanding of things. So really, I think that's just the major thing. The fact that that multidisciplinary approach widens your scope and then gives you the opportunity to really think beyond the box.
Well, that is perfect. I think it might be a timing issue right there, because we are finalizing everything. I did want to have some quick final thoughts on, first, to thank everyone. The goal here was to get the perspective from faculty and staff, and I think we did a great job in sort of just showing some of the resources that we have here and some of the great ideas and what we're working here on campus. But just for everybody, peace of mind, I'm going to actually put up the links here. So we have emails for Center for Graduate Life and Epic Innovators, Christina, and then we also have links to applications for Epic Innovators. Center for Graduate Life, they're going to have some great workshops coming up. One that I will personally highlight is the innovative thinking and making an impact with your research. That's one that I will be leading. It's a 2-part series. You could do the first or second, or you could do them both. They're going to complement each other, but you can do them individually. But that's going to be September 24th and October 6th. And it's on the CGL calendar, and it's also on our calendar at entrepreneurship.uncc.edu. And then I will leave you with Ventureprise's information. Please connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And then again, our website is entrepreneurship.uncc.edu. My email is also there. Please feel free to email any questions. If you'd like any introduction to the wonderful panel that we've had here today, I'll be happy to do introductions. But we hope you've learned a little bit of some resources that we have here across campus at UNC Charlotte. We'll see you next week. Thanks so much.